I think the time frame that I decided to use was not the best. But anyways, it's the first time. I think we will learn with the experience. Okay, so the reason why I decided to come up with this topic, it's because I've been teaching IB for a long time now, but this year was my first time as the CAS coordinator. And of course, this year was not like a normal year, but my students, they struggle a lot to come up with ideas for CAS activities and projects due to the COVID, and because half of our academic year was in a lockdown setting. But also because I felt myself that a big difficulty to incorporate all these different experiences in the subjects that the students were taking. So I have a presentation, and I will I don't know exactly what is your knowledge about CAS, and therefore I decided to include in my presentation a brief explanation of what is CAS. If you have any questions, you can always pose the questions. Let me just tell you that you probably already noticed from my accent, I'm from Portugal, but I'm currently teaching in Namibia at Windhoek International School. This is going to be my last year, and I'm going to move to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil to be the next MIP coordinator in the American International School of Brazil.
Congratulations, very nice.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
So this is my first time hosting a webinar, so I hope I don't defraud your expectations. Can you see the presentation?
It's just, yes, we can now. It's just there.
Okay. So my idea for this webinar was to blend CAS experience in DP subjects. And as you know, the CAS is one of the core subjects in the IB diploma program, and it's the center of DP and represents part of the DP's ongoing commitment to the IB learner profile. So basically what CAS, the importance of CAS in all this cycle is to make sure that our students experience and try all the learner profile attributes, and they learn the learning outcomes that I will show next. And the aim of the CAS is to, I think, as I understand, is to work as a bridge between the other part of the schooling that doesn't have so much to do with academics, with the academics. And sometimes because of our lack of time or not promoting a kind of horizontal planning, we skip this connection between the core subjects and the IB diploma subjects. So this was one of the images that I have shown this year to my students. When working on ManageBack, they should make sure that their CAS portfolio looks great. And how does this can look great? I think they really need to try to bring that academic and what they like to do into the CAS experiences and projects. And not always they do this, because they tend, and also the teachers, to separate these two areas that should complement each other. So basically, CAS should be real tasks that have real consequences and reflecting on these experiences that they are overtaking. And they should challenge themselves to extend existing skills or learn new ones. And as I understand, if we incorporate the content and the skills from and the concepts from the different subjects, these experiences and activities will be much more rich. I don't know if you agree with me and if you want to make any comment so far or a question.
I really like about you talking about these connections and stuff. I think so often I'm thinking of MYP because that's where my specialty is, but I feel like so much MYP, when we do services action, it's an event or it's a club and it's like a little bake sale. It's always something separate. And also talking about this authentic, making it real. Often they're, you know, fundraising for someone in another country that's kind of like they're othering. They're not really thinking about immediate impact that they can have on their community or the ways that they can benefit their own community. So I think this thing about real consequences is really good. And I also think there's challenge, because I think in services action and even in lots of things that they don't really challenge themselves. You know, doing a bake sale over and over again isn't a challenge, whereas maybe doing Duke of Edinburgh Gold or something like that can be. So I really like you putting in consequences and challenge. I think those are both really important things to remember.
Yes, I agree. Amal was just saying that she does restaurant wars in business. Yeah, and sometimes students are taking a CAS experience and the teachers, the subject teachers, are not aware. So my suggestion for today is to try to blend more and more the CAS and even the TOK and the extended essay to, and when we plan our subjects, to have in mind all the different CAS experiences and activities that our students are taking in order to blend this together and make this more real life experience. And maybe using the concepts and all the learned skills and content in these different activities and projects, big projects. CAS should also engage other intelligences in order for students to learn throughout doing. And it's the other intelligences, I see them here as the subjects, the different subjects that they are taking. Sometimes they have a subject that is their passion, and they could already try to bring this passion into their experiences. But this needs to be done by a really collaborative type of working between CAS coordinator and advisors, and also the subject teachers. So the CAS program aims to provide reflective thinkers and students that should understand their own strengths and limitations, and help students to identify goals and devise strategies for personal growth. As well, students that are willing to accept new challenges and new roles. And again, if we make sure that we try to make this as much real as possible, then when you do as a CAS coordinator, and I do the last interview to my students, and they say, Miss, CAS helped me to balance between my stress in the different subjects and the things that I really like to do and the challenges that I have to overtake. This makes all these core subjects much more real and meaningful. The CAS program is also creating awareness of the students themselves being members of communities with responsibilities towards each other and the environment that is surrounding them. also to be participants in sustained and collaborative projects, not only amongst this year. My students, they worked a lot in Windhoek, of course, but they did a lot online, and I will show you then some of the websites that I researched, for example, and I found it real interesting to make a connection between service that can be done through Google Meetings and Zoom meetings, and where our different teachers were part as supervisors. Because as you know, this year it was challenging to have outside people to be the supervisor. So we had to be much more creative and flexible, and the IB organization was also very much flexible with driving the CAS projects and experiences. So the teachers were, and the parents were much more involved this year than in the previous years. And to help students to be balanced. If they enjoy and find significance in a range of activities involving intellectual, physical, and creative and emotional experiences, by the end of CAS, they will be much more what we want with this cycle in the IB, to make them more holistic and more involved in our community and all the programs. So the strands CAS, they stand for creativity, activity, and service. And here is a little bit of what creativity stands for. So arts and other experiences that involve creative thinking and exploring and extending ideas leading to an original or interpretive product or performance. So, for example, here I see how well the creativity can be blended with drama, for example, or art and design. If the teachers are planning a performance to the whole school, why not to use the CAS students to bring ideas and to help them putting play by developing their skills, but on another hand, they are, for example, exploring that creative side of them. Then activity, it's more about physical exertion and contributing to a healthy lifestyle. And it can include participation in expeditions, individual and team sports, and physical activities outside your curriculum or their curriculum. So, for example, I see these the activities that can really blend with business, because to plan a tournament, a soccer tournament, for example, we have in our school, for example, we have a soccer tournament that is an ongoing CAS project, and our tournament is involves people from outside and our own alumni and teachers and other students from other schools. And the aim of this tournament is to praise a former student that passed away with cancer. And all the different steps that our students need to take in order to organize a tournament, I think, for example, that could link really well with a subject such as business. I think, Amal, you mentioned that you are a business teacher.
Yeah, I was thinking, yes, how, like, for example, in case of like marketing the whole sports event, that could be linked with the subject. And I was thinking like, again, like how like other ways, for example, calculating the finances, the budget required, that would also be business. Yes, but yes, it could be related, very linked with business.
And also math, because they for example, in our
Yeah.
reality, we don't have a big soccer field, so they had to, in order to host different games at the same time, they had to calculate and try to come up with small fields. So of course it's in a scale very with a standard level scale, but anyways, it can, if teachers are creative, they can also always be try to be creative and really plan for this type of experiences. And the
And I was,
students, yes,
oh, sorry. I was saying, yeah, it can also be linked with visual arts. Like students can design posters, and visual arts
yes,
should the
and the
students work
trophies.
together.
Yes, because our students, they are the ones that create the trophies and the medals, and they need to find companies, and they need to plan the budget for everything. And this could, even the fact that this is a charity tournament, could also maybe be linked to TOK, some of the questions related to ethics and all of that. So let me continue. Then we have service. And of course, service in the past 2 years was very challenging for our students. I don't know about your realities, but here in Windhoek, we although we were not in a full lockdown for many months, but we were in remote learning almost a year. So for our students, it was quite challenging, and that's why I came up with the idea of doing taking some service online, and my students were reading for primary students or tutoring online. And I will show you later a very nice website that provides very good volunteering experiences for our students. So service relates to collaborative and reciprocal engagement with the community and a meaningful contribution to society in response to an authentic need with a learning benefit for the student. For example, this year what I did was also I tried to make links with our PTA and some of my CAS students because, okay, thank you, Lenny. Because the PTA is always in need for extra volunteers and new ideas, fresh ideas. And I thought, why not to introduce my CAS students to the PTA? And it's been working quite well. And every Thursday we have in our PTA kind of a students-driven event, like students come and play music, or they organize a nationality day with food and fundraisings, and my students have been part of these days. So the learning outcomes that we want to reach with CAS are 7. So I will quickly, this is of course based on research I did in other colleagues' blogs and videos and Google website slides, and I try to combine everything. So learning outcome number 1 is more about growth. Learning outcome number 2, learning and undertaking new challenges and developing new skills. The learning outcome number 3, demonstrate how to initiate and plan a CAS experience. Learning outcome number 4 is about commitment. And this is something that my students were saying when the grade 12 students were saying in their interviews, that sometimes we feeling overwhelmed by the amount of deadlines and academic work, they tend to forget about CAS, but because they have deadlines also for CAS, and the advisors and the supervisors are always in touch with them and trying to push them, and also myself, it's a part of what they learn is about being committed and managing time as well. So another learning outcome that they mention a lot is collaboration. So because of course it's much easier to work individually, and sometimes it's difficult to work in collaboration. And especially this year, they had to do many of their meetings for the projects online. And creating awareness. And the last one is recognize and consider the ethics for their choices and actions. And again, I think, for example, these two learning outcomes, they would fit perfectly with TOK lessons. And if teachers have the time to plan, then some of their experiences can also be linked with other core subjects. Okay, so when the students plan, think about an experience, they need to follow different steps, and I try to sum them: investigate and plan, taking action, reflection, and demonstration. So I believe that, and more, I don't know about you, Lenny, and even planning for my MYP classes, I believe that my students, they learn when they do the assessment as a learner, and when they reflect. They really have the time to think about their mistakes, the challenges, what went well in their products and in their final products, what were I'm missing the word, when checking through the criteria based, where they failed, what can they do better to improve next time. So I think that these two steps in CAS are really, really important, although of course our students think that, oh, Miss, I don't have time for reflections, it's time consuming, but in the end they feel that I learned when I did my reflection. And even if the reflection is just a picture or a drawing, it's when they have time and they take time to think about all the teaching and learning process. So here you see they have to come up with a CAS plan. And I think here the CAS plan can be crucial to support teachers incorporating the core subjects. If the CAS coordinator can share, or if the teachers can take time to see on ManageBack the CAS plans for each student, and usually the CAS plan is it can be a Google Doc or a simple Windows a document with a chart where they plan all the different creativity, activity, and action throughout the 2-year program. Then the teachers can plan in advance, attending all these different activities that their students are going to overtake, and then they can make the links. You can even invite your students to come and do presentations, for example, about what we were just talking about, the soccer tournament. The students, if the teacher plans in advance when teaching marketing procedures, to the students. The teacher plans with these specific CAS students to come and present their marketing plan to advertise the tournament. This is going to be much more meaningful to the whole class than having a random case study or example from another country or another specialist, but is not linked to their reality. I don't know if you want to make any comments.
I just put in a quote from John Dewey that says, we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience, which I think follows through of exactly what you were saying about them learning from doing, but then also the reflection being so important.
I agree. I usually tell my students that our real life example, when we were kids and our parents, go to your room and think about your mistake or what you did, and then we need to think about, and how am I going to sort it out, this problem, solve this problem. So and I think usually all these things that we have to think about, they will make us grow, sometimes in a negative, but also in a positive way, but we will take lessons from these experiences. So, example of good CAS connections. So let's some examples. For example, from my reality, calligraphy, journal, writing novel, a soccer tournament, creating awareness for a disease. For example, this year we had COVID aid. So in the beginning of COVID, as you know, we are in an African country. And although we are in a privileged community, not everybody was aware of what COVID was and how to protect themselves, to protect their families. And some of my students, they found out that outside our school, people didn't believe that COVID was a real disease. So they didn't believe that they had to sanitize their hands and all of that. So my students, they decided to create an awareness, and they gave the name COVID Aid. Another student has been doing PAD education, because as you know, we have, I don't know if you are aware, but here in Africa, we have a high percentage of girls that do not attend school because they don't have money to buy the pads. So they were going outside our community to raise awareness, to give some conferences. It was quite interesting. Services to different institutions, blood drive, blogs. I think the most responsibility and the essential responsibility, either from the CAS advisors and the CAS supervisors and the CAS coordinator, is to liaise with each student to ensure that the CAS program is continuous and meaningful throughout the 2 years of the program, and making sure that we are creating a chain of interesting things happening between students and the community. And the links that I see in these different examples that I just gave are, for example, English literature. I have a student that is, since 2019, she's been working on a novel. She's writing a novel. So why not to use all the skills that they have to learn and they learn in English literature to incorporate in this specific activity that this student is overtaking. Another example is in history. There are so many links that we can make. For example, in this example of the raising awareness for women issues, we can point some events in history and also in biology. My student is now working with our nurse to create awareness in the primary girls of how to deal with all these body transformations and all these challenges that sometimes they face. The Christopher Ives tournament that is in honor of a former student that passed away, we can link with business, sports sciences, even with English, because the way we are going to use the language to advertise outside the community. So there are plenty of links, as Amal was mentioning, with art by creating the posters and a blog or NTOK, all these questions about the women rights and what is happening around the world. Psychology, for example, my students, they were last year painting the nursery area of a local hospital, and this can also make a bridge between the different case studies that our students sometimes they take in psychology, the well-being of the people when facing a much better environment when in the hospital. I don't know how to pronounce your name. GIC? Do you want
Yes.
to say something? Okay.
Yes. So I just wanted to share, like last year, around this time when we were ending the year, we were facing that first wave of COVID in India here. And my psychology students actually collected resources from all over the city and collated a list of helpline numbers that, people could just call for COVID related issues. Like, I'm feeling very sad, depressed because there is so much negativity around me. So they collected all these numbers and they made sure that, they were put in their buildings, in societies. So one day they went around the school vicinity and just put them up. So that was something that I felt my students really went out of the way and did it for the community. So, yeah.
I agree. It's a great idea. I'm also the, as you know, when we are in a small school, we have different roles. So I am also the coordinator, the supervisor for the Senior Student Council. And what they did was they decided to work with our counselor, and they were hosting Google meetings where they would talk about all these challenges with the kids. Like if a specific student needed to talk about the frustration of being studying online or staying at home. So they were interacting a lot through Google Meetings to help all these students overcoming the challenges.
A few of them actually tried implementing a system where our middle school was finishing their assessments, right? They were given projects and they were finishing these projects. So they had helpers and buddies from high school. Like 9, 10, 11, 12 had taken up the buddy system just to help them get through that time. It didn't work out for many of the mentors, but some of them had a great experience and the kids actually contacted them. So yeah, that was one step that was added to this program.
So yeah, it's also an excellent idea. And I think when we take all these different activities as an ongoing thing and we help our students to pass all these projects or small activities that can become big projects to the next group in a more organized way, then it becomes like an ongoing thing, very beneficial for the entire community. So thank you for sharing your idea. So this was an example of reflection that I took from one of the many different activities on ManageBack. And even from the students' reflections, if we take a little bit of time to speak with the CAS coordinator and trying to interact and plan in collaboration, then we can take ideas to do in our own subjects. Because I also, as an individuals and societies teacher, I also take a lot of these different ideas that I see in the students' reflections, and I use them as examples in my lessons. And sometimes I plan according to what the CAS students are doing, and I invite them to come and do presentations in my lessons to make it more real. This one is the other students' reflection. For example, this year, an international school in Moscow did conference online, and two of my CAS students were part of the conference. And in the CAS section, they were invited to present one of their activities and all the challenges and great things that they have learned during the activity. And I think my student was really nervous, of course, because she had to do a video, or one of the students did a presentation like we are doing right now through a Google Meet. The other one did record a video and then was present just to answer some of the questions from the other students around the world. And this is also something really interesting. You can read from the reflection that it was inspired for them. And in the end, they got a certification for being part of this worldwide conference, and they were very excited when presenting to other students. Let me continue because I don't know exactly how much time I have. So these are some of the examples of the real life activities and experiences that my students are involved with. So you see here the tournament in celebration of this boy, Christopher Ives. And then the Feed the Earth, it's a blog that my other students created to help in the north here in Namibia when they were struggling with food and water. Luckily, it has been raining a lot and they are much better, but they had to come up with everything. So, for example, in this activity, they were a lot in collaboration with the ICT team to create the blog and also these advertisement posters. And then also with local companies, because they wanted to bring the food to the different farmers and in touch with different non-governmental organizations. And here it's the group of students that were handing in all the goods that they managed to collect to this organization, and they were quite happy. So this was also in collaboration with the biology department, giving them the scientific aspect of all this fundraising. I research also here. I don't know if you can see here in Udar Education, there is, and I guess if we buy the book, they have many interesting books. We can see here the different links with CAS experience and academic subjects. And maybe then I can share this presentation with Lenny, and then she can put the link. Yes, they give us a free. The Udar, they give us a sample, and they also sometimes they provide 30 days of trials. So you can have for 30 days, you can see the, you can use the book and try some of the different activities that they have and assessments. I don't know if you already use this publisher. I like it a lot. Let me quickly show you the blog that my students created. Also, you see, Feed the Herds. So even with language acquisition, for example, because they did with the website in English and in French. So because this was like not really planned with the French teacher, but in another opportunity, I will make sure that the teacher plans a lesson or creates a project where students can have the opportunity to also interact CAS experiences and activities. But I'm pretty sure that they also help the support of their French teacher. The virtual volunteer website that I was mentioning, I don't know if any of you already know this website. So you see, you can type in your zip code zone, and currently we have 0 opportunities locally, but international opportunities are plenty of them. Thank you. And there are again, subject teachers can research and can even propose to a student that is doing CAS, why not to work as a team and come up with an activity and an idea for the teacher, and the teacher can incorporate in their subject. Again, I think this is only possible if we do UBD, understanding by design and planning backwards. If we plan backwards, then we will be able to prepare our units in advance and make the bridges that are so important with the CAS projects and experiences. I don't know about your schools, but I believe that vertical and horizontal planning is really the key. And also for CAS and TOK and extended essay to be meaningful and to be in the heart of the IB diploma program. I think it's very important to sit with each, if not each subject teacher within the departments, and plan backwards what are our main goals in the end of this unit. How can I bring CAS and TOK and extended essay to my unit plans? I also have here some other blogs and projects that are that bring a lot of ideas for students. Thank you very much for attending my first webinar. I hope you found it interesting.
Yes, it was really, really good. Thank you so much for so much things for us to start thinking about. Definitely lots of great inspiration. So I will make sure to share the recording and all the links online. But yeah, there's lots of food for thought. And just the last thing you were saying about backward planning and putting it into your units. I know in MYP, sometimes teachers think that services action means like taking the kids off campus for a week to volunteer somewhere. It doesn't have to be. So those objectives that you told us at the beginning, as well as the services action objectives, if our teachers are more familiar with that, they'll see, okay, it doesn't have to be volunteering or time somewhere off campus. There are all these different avenues to do CAS and services action. So thank you for highlighting that. And everyone, she obviously volunteered all her time to make this and run it. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You are an inspiration for me. I hope we can interact more, because with your expertise in MYP, I will pretty sure be in touch with you. And thank you to all the other participants. Thank you very much for coming. And if you have further questions, please, I don't know, where should they place the questions? Maybe in the Google slide, and
yeah,
then I can
put a link to your LinkedIn as well, so people can connect with you there.
Yes, and if you have questions, or if I can give you any other resources, feel free to ask, because that's how our community can grow and bring the best to our students.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.